Welcome to Nighttime Creeps, the place where your worst nightmares come to life. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. The Watcher of Salem. In 1989, I was 17 and living in Salem, Massachusetts, a town with a dark history that always seemed to cast a shadow, even on the brightest of days. The town was steeped in stories of witches, curses, and hauntings, but I never put much stock in them. I figured they were just tales spun to thrill tourists or scare little kids. That was until something happened to me that I still can't explain. It was late October, just a few days before Halloween, and the air had a bite to it. My friends and I decided to sneak into the old Turner Ingersoll mansion, better known as the House of the Seven Gables. It was a rite of passage for kids in Salem, something you did to prove you were brave enough to handle the town's haunted reputation. The mansion was closed to the public at night, but we found a way in through a broken basement window. The house was as creepy as I'd imagined, all dark wood and narrow corridors. The air was thick with the smell of age and dust. Our flashlights barely cut through the darkness, casting long, jittery shadows that seemed to move on their own. We were exploring the first floor when we heard a faint sound, like footsteps overhead. At first, we thought it was one of our friends playing a prank, but we quickly realized all of us were accounted for, standing together in the foyer. The footsteps grew louder, more deliberate, as if someone or something was walking with purpose. The sound wasn't just above us anymore, it was coming down the stairs. We pointed our flashlights toward the staircase, but saw nothing. No shadow, no figure, just the sound of those heavy footsteps descending, step by step. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead, and my heart pounded in my chest. We all stood frozen, unable to move or even speak, just staring at the empty staircase. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the sound stopped. The silence that followed was so profound, it was as if the house itself was holding its breath. We all bolted for the basement window, scrambling to get out as fast as we could. Once outside, we ran as if our lives depended on it, not stopping until we were far from the house. We didn't speak of what happened, not then and not later. It was as if we all silently agreed that what we'd experienced was better left unspoken. A few days later, I started having nightmares. In them, I was back in the house, alone this time, and I could hear those footsteps again. But in the dreams, I could see what was making the noise: a shadowy figure, tall and gaunt, with hollow eyes that seemed to look right through me. The figure never spoke, just watched me with those empty eyes, as if waiting for something. The nightmares persisted for weeks, and I started to dread sleep. One night I woke up drenched in sweat, the figure's gaze still burned into my mind. I glanced at the clock, 3:15 a.m. I got out of bed to get some water, trying to shake the lingering fear. As I walked past the window, I froze. There, standing on the sidewalk across the street, was the figure from my dreams. It was just as I'd seen it, tall, gaunt, with those same hollow eyes. It stood perfectly still, staring up at my bedroom window. I wanted to scream, to wake my parents, but I couldn't make a sound. I just stood there, paralyzed by fear. The figure didn't move, didn't even blink. It simply stood there, watching. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I managed to tear my eyes away from the window. When I looked back, it was gone, but the fear remained, gnawing at the edges of my sanity. I never told anyone what I saw that night, Not my friends, not my family, no one. But I never went back to the house of the Seven Gables, and I avoided that part of town whenever I could. Even now, decades later, I still get chills thinking about that figure. I don't know if it was a ghost, a demon, or something else entirely, but whatever it was real, and I'll never forget the way it watched me, as if it knew me, as if it had been waiting for me all along.